This is Pop-Up Book from Book Public on Texas Public Radio. I'm Yvette Benavides. On today's episode, we learn all about the 9th Annual San Antonio Book Festival. It takes place Friday, April 9th through Sunday, April 11th, and it's entirely online. I spoke to Festival Executive Director Lilly Gonzalez and Literary Director Clay Smith about this year's San Antonio Book Festival. The 9th Annual San Antonio Book Festival. This is April 9th through 11th, and it will be online. What does that mean for our book lovers who are listening right now out there and might not be sure what to expect?
Well, I think it means that we're coming to them this year, rather than trekking down to the Central Library and the Southwest School of Art in downtown San Antonio. We'll be coming right to their living rooms or their bedroom or their couch or wherever it is that they want to join us from. We all have had a full year of that experience and know how convenient it can be. You can literally be cooking dinner or, in the middle of something else and still enjoy a really engaging, stimulating conversation.
So people can find the schedule and they can register for events at your website and sort of just find their way that way, maybe in advance of anything, plan out their days. So I would think that the website is a good tool for everybody to look at beforehand.
Yes, that's right. So sabookfestival.org/online edition. That's where, people can go to that page now and start viewing the lineup of nearly 200 writers, and they can start kind of planning their weekend with us from, over 100 sessions to choose from. So yeah, we would recommend that people get started now so that they can have a jam-packed weekend with us.
So 200 writers. So obviously you guys have not slowed down. This is not an incredible shrinking festival. On the contrary, it seems like it's bloomed even more. So who's coming and what else can we look forward to? Who's coming to the book festival?
Oh gosh, some of the major names are Walter Isaacson. People might know him from the Steve Jobs bio. He also recently wrote a biography of Leonardo da Vinci. His new book is called The Codebreaker, and it's about Jennifer Doudna, and she is the co-creator of the CRISPR gene splicing technology, which is one of the things that has made it possible for us to have a coronavirus vaccine so quickly. If we were here in the Spanish flu, that we would not have had this vaccine that quickly. So that book is just out now. People might know Kristen Hanna, who is a major bestseller. The Nightingale is one of her novels, and The Great Alone. Her new novel is called The Four Winds, and it is set in the Texas Panhandle during the Great Depression. Sandra Cisneros is going to be a part of the festival again. Of course, people may know she used to live here in San Antonio, and we have a unique event with her where we've asked her to pick 4 writers who she thinks deserve a bigger platform. And she is going to be sort of talking with them during her event on Saturday, April 10th. So there's, as Lily said, there's like 200. So you probably don't want me to go through all of them. I could.
No, those all sound fantastic. So people can go to the website and see who else is coming. So, and one of the many things I appreciate about this festival is the diversity of events, all the genres, something for every single age group. I know in years past, this was a huge family and school event before the pandemic. What are some of the ways that families and teachers and schools can still participate? What can they look forward to with an online festival?
I would say, that it's been a full year of online programming, and our 2020 event was, we were forced to cancel because we were 3 weeks out from the event, and it was, too late to pivot. But that means that we've had a full year of seeing how other festivals do their event to kind of learn from their events. And so one of the things that we really wanted for ours was to add engagement. Obviously it's not going to replicate the in-person experience, but we wanted to try and get as close to that as we could with an online event. And so that required investing in a platform that offered that capability, because the technology is out there. You just kind of have to pay for it. So we invested in a platform called Excel Events, which is great, and that part doesn't really matter. But what the public needs to know is that it's going to offer the ability to mingle with other festival attendees the way that you might at an in-person festival, where you might just kind of chat with somebody and say, hey. It's going to offer, for example, as you were asking, educators and people who belong to book clubs, or teachers who might want to give this opportunity to their classrooms. We're offering something called lounges. So you basically create a little intimate virtual chat room, for example, like a Zoom-like room, right? And you can go in there and see all your fellow book club members or students, and you can chat with each other while the festival is happening. So people could watch the session that Nick Stone just presented in. She's in our YA lineup. And then go and join their lounge and talk about what it was that they just saw.
I hadn't considered that last year, there wasn't enough time to pivot when everybody went on lockdown. And I feel like I'm not a Luddite. I'm pretty versed in technology, but I might have hesitated to log on last year, but I've had a whole year to practice, and I'm not intimidated by the prospect of going to a reading or an event or a lounge, a virtual lounge space. So I think it's really neat that maybe we've all worked on our learning curves and might not feel so intimidated about going into all of these new spaces where we can still access our favorite writers and bring our children and our students into these contexts as well. I think that's really awesome.
We think so too.
Yeah, the outreach is really limitless. You don't have to be from San Antonio. This is open to everybody who wants to join in the fun.
It's been both kind of the joy and the bane of programming this year's festival, because it's a real joy because we don't have to worry about flying all these writers in, and San Antonio is very much its own selling point. It hasn't been hard for me to write a book publicist in New York and say, would your writer want to come to San Antonio for the weekend? And many writers love to come here, but it is a little bit easier not to have to worry about the flight and hotel. But then you have to think, okay, I had this great idea of putting together this writer and that writer. And oh, you know what? The Portland Book Festival did it a few months ago, the exact same thing. So it's sort of like in journalism. You can't really write a story if someone else has. And so you want to be first. And so we applied that same thinking to the programming this year. So it's a bunch of pairings of writers that haven't appeared elsewhere. So I hope that people will check out all the different panels and offerings and take advantage of it, because it is a lot of unique programming this year.
I've sat in on lots of virtual events with authors, an author interviewing another author for a book release, say, in poetry readings. And I've felt this spark of chemistry between people, even virtually, like one guy's in New Hampshire and the other guy's in San Francisco. And they still there's still this great energy. And then there's also this, I don't know how to describe it, but like there's this promise of the future. Like we're seeing each other now, we're making this work, we're still celebrating a book, and we'll see you next time. There's something so beautiful about keeping on. In these virtual spaces that I've really appreciated each time. So I can't wait to experience that with the book festival. San Antonio's experienced a severe and dangerous weather event in February. I was reading yesterday what someone wrote on social media about the way they're still dealing with the trauma of those days and the days following the power outages, the hours and days of sub-freezing temperatures and no water, things like that. And all this on the heels of everything that this pandemic has implied for all of us, all the ways we've all been affected. So here we are, the 9th annual book festival. It's incredible to me that it's 9 years. So besides the delivery of events, panels, readings online, that fact that it's online and what these book festivals of the last 8 years have shown you about what a celebration of books means to San Antonio, right? Like, that's not lost on me. What you all have built and created over all of these years and where you are now and what everybody's been through collectively. I feel like, yeah, here we have this news about the vaccines, and it seems like we're all going to turn this huge corner pretty soon, but there are books to celebrate. So I feel like this is the moment. This is the festival is what's going to help us change the channel on so much that's been so difficult for everybody in the last year. Not to bring on the treacle, and the sentimentality, but I'm feeling a little bit like there's this perfect, impeccable timing, this convergence of situations, and the book festival is going to lead the way. Is that just me?
No, I mean, I think it's important to say that culture moves ahead in the face of all this illness and this extreme weather that Texans are not at all used to, as you said. It's very important that culture go ahead and that we talk about books, and in the case of the book festival, and we sort of gather around writers and recognize their work and that they contribute something unique to our world.
Well, I did just want to respond to that because you mentioned, not to get too sentimental, but today is actually the anniversary of the day that our staff learned that we would be canceling the festival
March
the very
12th.
next day.
Okay.
Yeah, we canceled March 13th, but 1 year ago we were dealing with that reality. And as you were talking just about, gosh, everything that this year has meant and everything we've been through, and I'm just thinking like, that was so heartbreaking. And now here we are talking to you, and Clay and I are vaccinated. And and there's this like, it's coming. The end is, we're almost all going to be vaccinated. That's going to be amazing. And next year's event will, my God, let's all cross our fingers. It will be in person, but I do feel that everything that we're just talking about here, the publishing industry, the book festival industry, it is going to change. And I think it's going to change for the better. I think these online events have made it more accessible. We've heard from so many people that could never really make it down to the Central Library, for whatever reasons, and now we're coming to them in their homes, and I think that's wonderful, especially in this age of inclusivity and bringing people together. I think it's a great thing that we're able to expand our audience.
Lilly Gonzalez and Clay Smith, thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The San Antonio Book Festival Executive Director is Lilly Gonzalez, and Clay Smith is the festival's Literary Director. The San Antonio Book Festival will take place online from April 9th through 11th. Go to sabookfestival.org for all the information about schedules of readings, panels, and special events. This has been Pop-Up Book from Book Public on Texas Public Radio. Write to us at bookpublic@tpr.org. Jacob Rosati composed our theme music. Bree Kirkham is our digital producer. Dan Katz is Texas Public Radio's news director. I'm Yvette Benavides.